He must pardon the January 6 people now. He really has no moral choice because these people were prosecuted not for what they did, but for who they are.
That's attorney Alan Dershowitz responding to Biden's pardon of his son Hunter, making the case that now Joe must pardon the January 6 protesters because, as he puts it, they were prosecuted for who they are. And to prove that irony is fully dead at this point, here's his next sentence.
Not for what they did, but for who they are. If they were Black Lives Matter people doing the same thing, they wouldn't have been prosecuted. But they're not. They're Trump people. They're MAGA people. And you say, oh, no, they did the same thing. They went into Congress. Well, of course they went into Congress. Willie Sutton once said, they asked him, what does he rob banks? That's where the money is. Well, of course you're going to go into Congress if you're protesting an election, just like you go to, police headquarters if you're protesting a police killing.
I wish we could focus on the joke that is comparing the insurrectionists who willingly and enthusiastically tried to overthrow the results of an election to those protesting over policing and brutality, while saying that the former are the ones being prosecuted for who they are. But he later in the clip gives an important caveat. He says that he's only referring to pardoning January 6ers who were solely convicted of trespassing. But an appeals court just reaffirmed that charge at the end of October, essentially asserting that those receiving Secret Service protection have an actual right to not face the will of a literal mob, including in this case, notably, the former vice president, who survived a crowd full of many of these just trespassers who were literally calling to hang Mike Pence with him just around the corner. But that's not the worst reaction to the pardon. For that, we have to turn to CNN.
Joe Biden is leaving office making the strongest possible case for Donald Trump that anybody could possibly make it, and that's that our government and our justice system is of, by, and for the elites and nobody else. It is a complete and utter failure by the head of the Democratic Party and the President of the United States. Never again do I want to hear, oh, Donald Trump's a liar. You can't believe anything he says. Donald Trump will abuse his power.
I have one devastating point that I want to make in response to CNN's Scott Jennings there. But it's funny when unreasonable people disagree. So here's one more Dershowitz clip.
Many people, if you go through the tax returns, you could find a basis for something. But we don't do that. Joe Biden was right when he said no reasonable person would disagree with the fact that if his name were not Biden, he would not have been prosecuted. And so I 100% agree with Joe Biden's decision to pardon.
To make it even better, though, Dershowitz represented Trump in his impeachment, the one regarding getting dirt on Joe and Hunter Biden. But lastly, that point that I wanted to make to Jennings earlier was this. Trump just nominated a family member he had pardoned last term to be ambassador to France.